Hello and welcome to the 27th episode of the Wingly Update. My name is Eyal and I'm your host. And I'm starting again, 2 weeks in a row, the first session along and just talking to you. So, again, thank you for joining. We have an exciting guest with us today. We're going to have an interview with Huzaifa Asif, who's a community member of us and has a very interesting YouTube channel that we're going to share. And we're going to talk a little bit about the book that he just released, Designing Scalable System. And then we're going to have Mark that will be joining us for another kind of what has happened in the last 2 weeks of Wing with the Changelog. And then we're going to have a good first issue session with Revital, and that will be our show for today. So again, thanks for joining. Without further ado, let me bring Huzaifa on stage. Hey,
Hey,
how you doing, man?
yeah, I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's where are you from? Where are
I'm
you?
I'm from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
Oh, nice. What's the time in Malaysia right now?
It is around 3 a.m.
Mm,
Yeah, it's nighttime.
okay, nighttime. I
Yeah,
mean, morning time, 3 a.m.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So you have a great view behind you, and
yeah. It's because it's like this place is sort of like in the center of Kuala Lumpur. I have like
okay,
Petronas Tower like 400-500 meters from my place, and like I can see all. It's in between all the buildings.
really nice. No, it looks awesome, and you have a great setup. You can hear you great, and it's not a coincidence because you've been doing you have your own YouTube channel for the last kind of year or so, right?
Yeah, I started YouTube like around 1 year ago, and it is like sort of like you can say a coincidence because it's like a very funny story because there was this one guy who was always messaging me on LinkedIn and
Okay.
asking me about like different concepts and different stuff, and then I was like giving sort of mentoring to a lot of different people, like at that time also like 20-30 people. Just it's like free, like I'm not taking any money, just like helping others out. So that person used to say that you have like such a good voice, and when you explain something you are like really into it, why you don't create videos and stuff?
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, it's like too much of a hassle. And then I created 1 or 2 videos and I leave it there like 3 years ago, 3-4 years
Okay.
ago.
Okay.
And then like I created like 4 videos, and then after like 1 year ago I checked my YouTube channel. One of the video has like around 30,000 views, the other one had like 10-15,000. I was like, oh, because this is something that I was not, I thought like those videos maybe they are still on YouTube or no. Then I was like, and then that same person was asking me that why you're not creating videos. And
Oh, I
all of
see.
the sudden I just get a push to, I was like, okay, I will create like 3-4 videos, and that's it. I created the videos, I get the good response, I was like, okay, let's do it.
Nice. What was the videos? What was the what topics do you actually cover?
Yeah, so in the start I created the video about MongoDB like around 3.5 years ago, because at
Nice.
that time there was not much content on MongoDB. Right now you can see a lot. So
Right.
I created video about how you can create views, how you can do joins and different sort of things, backup and
Yeah.
XYZ. And then like now it's like I create videos on all sort of topic like related to system design. It can be related to databases, related to AWS services, related to caching, scaling, like that.
Nice. So you have how kind of alive is your channel? Do you do this every month, every 2 weeks, every?
So previously it was like I was posting video like almost like one video every 2 week, like it's
Okay.
like that. But then like for past 2 months I just updated like the frequency, and now I'm posting a lot more because and now I have like 2-3 guys who are helping me creating the
Oh, nice.
content and all that stuff. So now what they do is like from all the podcasts they create like small clips, and they also post that. So now it is like, I think from Monday to Thursday there is a video uploaded every day, like
Oh,
one
nice.
video on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then like the next week. So
And
yeah.
and what's your favorite topics right now? I mean, if it's not MongoDB.
uh right now I would say like the infrastructure, system scaling, monitoring, these are something that are like right now I'm also interested in, and I'm, learning and creating videos on.
Got it. Are you a Kubernetes fan? Are you a serverless fan? You're agnostic to it?
Yeah, this is something that I believe that it is based on the team size and the
Same.
project, because
Same.
it has happened that some guys, they just love, for instance, they just love a particular thing, right? They say, oh,
Right.
cloud formation is very easy, it's very good, like, because they know, right? So they try to fix that thing in every project, in
Right.
every team. It
Right.
can be a case that you have like a very small team, and
Right.
then you might go with like elastic beanstalk, right? Like
Right.
it's not like you should always have like ECS cluster, ECR, or EKS, that setup. So I am that kind of a person.
Got it. I'm seeing more and more kind of asynchronous flows that kind of not we don't have if you don't have a client that actually goes into API gateway and then needs to hit someone, and then you need to return I mean the sync flows and return the response. I'm seeing most of those flows go into Kubernetes or in a container based system. It doesn't have to be
Yeah,
Kubernetes. And then I'm seeing more kind of reacting to events, kind of event driven flows going to serverless. It's interesting to see this. It makes sense. It also serverless is hard. I mean, there's the cold start problem and
yeah,
the latency problem, and the other side of it is if you do kind of reserve concurrency, now you have a cost problem. So I'm seeing this dichotomy. But what you're saying basically, first of all, some people will just choose if they have everything looks like if you have a nail, everything looks like a hammer for them. So some people will just use the same technology over and over again. And you're saying
yeah,
it really depends on the job to be done and also the team
yeah,
structure. Yeah, makes a lot
yeah,
of sense. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, if you need an EKS cluster, you also need someone to manage it, right? I mean, it's not something
yeah.
that without cost.
That has, I have seen that like a lot of the times that, some guy like actually built like a very complex infrastructure, and it is like a startup, and they have like 3 4 guys total, like all 3 4 guys, the whole development team. And then that guy left the team, and then
Yeah,
everybody is like, thinking that how we will actually manage it, because
right,
they have no clue about Terraform, they have no clue about like the whole API gateway,
right,
ECS.
right,
And then it's a mess. So
right.
I believe like just based on your team capacity, then decide the architecture.
Right, right. It's interesting. It's at one point at my previous company, we had a data pipeline that was it had handled a lot of events, like a really really large chunk of events live on and we used Kafka Stream for that on
Oh,
Kubernetes. And we were a small team, like 13 people total, and we used this on Kubernetes. And then we had problem with the fact that it's the JVM was running on Kubernetes. That was 2016. There was really a lot of problem with JVM on Kubernetes, and we had RocksDB running on this, and the machine kept. I mean, at one point after 3 years, I mean, from time to time, we had to go into the machine, clean it up, move the
yeah,
cursor back of the Kafka. I just told one of the developers, listen, man, I think we chose the wrong tool. We don't have a dedicated person that knows this shit, that knows how to
yeah,
handle, know how to. That's maybe we did a mistake 3 years ago. Maybe we should choose a different tool. Talk to the product guy, see if we can kind of alleviate some of the kind of. We had to do some, I don't know, the duplication stuff. Maybe we don't really
yeah,
care about that and just select something simple. I think it's
yeah,
really, really important because we thought we were growing, and then we're going to hire more DevOps, and it's not always the case. It's sometimes you
yeah,
you don't grow, sometimes
yeah.
so I totally can relate to what you're saying.
Yeah,
Um,
because on all the cloud providers right now, so they have like, I think it's also very good of them that they have like different category of services. One
Okay.
is like fully managed
Right.
services. The
Right.
other one is like, which is like partially managed, like you don't have to do the heavy lifting, it's like already configured, but you
What's the
can.
example for you?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So then the one is like you just do everything yourself,
Right.
right? So
Right.
I believe like just now they have like a lot of managed solutions, so
Right.
we just go with that. Like it's no point like setting up everything. Like for instance, like very easy example so that all of the people can understand that. For instance, you have to deploy a WordPress website. You
Okay.
can set up an EC2 instance, and then
Right.
you can install MySQL. Then you can install
Right.
like the Bitnami or whatever the server is, and then you set up everything yourself and run that particular application. The other
Right.
process is in the EC2 you have like the images. You can
AMI.
there are options. Yeah,
Right.
AMIs. There's an option. They say, okay, from Bitnami it will set up the whole WordPress from one click. Boom, it's done, right? The
Right.
other option, the second option, like if you want to do some sort of POC and it's not like you just want to set it up for like few days, you
Right.
go to Lightsail. Lightsail is a VPC. The cost is like, it will not go beyond. So you say,
Right.
okay, $5 a month, you set up the WordPress website in 2 minutes, you do the POC, extract the
Right.
backup, done. So
Right.
it's based on the scenario as well.
Right. And it's true for everything, right? It's true for your
Yeah,
CI/CD process, whether you're going to run a Jenkins or whether
yeah,
you're going to use GitHub Actions or Circle CI. It's
yeah,
true for any infrastructure. Sometimes you have to go with
yeah,
with a managed solution. I always appreciate the people who say our default is managed solution. We're starting with a managed solution
yeah,
because I mean I mean you're basically loading your problems to someone else. I mean, and in most cases it's not your business domain. It's not how you make money. It's just it's not where you want to be differentiated. Actually, you want to make room for putting your best people on where you want to be differentiated.
yeah,
Um,
that's true.
yeah, yeah. So you're in our community, and you posted, I think, a couple of weeks ago that you've just issued a new book called "Designing Scalable Systems." Can you tell us a little bit about this? Why you posted this book and what's it
Yeah.
all about?
Yeah, so this book, Designing Scalable System, like I was thinking about it, like you can say around like 1.5 year ago about writing the book. I have the title in my mind and some of the chapters and the layout, but I was not sure, like obviously what it will turn out to be. Initially, I thought like because there's this problem that right now I'm doing like mentoring for like a lot of people, and most of the people that I do mentoring, some of them are like we don't know the pathway, like what is the next step, like what is the next thing I should learn in this software engineering realm. And then some of the people are like, we don't know, like we have built the solution based on the tutorials, based on the guidelines, but
Right,
we are not sure that when we will deploy that to production, then and a lot of users will use that platform, it will actually work or no. So there was this concern. Then I was thinking that okay, this concern is actually not for like these 20-30 people that I am actually talking to. This is something that everybody in the market is thinking because of all the medium and junior or senior level, all of these guys are thinking about it. So I was like, okay, I can create a book, or like I can just create a course. So in that I will cover almost all the aspect of the whole system design. And then because someone read that particular book, then they know, okay, these are the main like concept. Obviously there can be other concepts, and then they get the whole gist of it. They understand, okay, if we follow all these things and we go more deep into that, then we are like very certain that our system is very scalable and can handle like a lot of load.
right. So it's quite. So that's the first thing that I went through the book. It's quite extensive. It talks about the APIs and software architecture, system design, databases,
Yeah,
infrastructure scaling, monitoring. You're going through I mean, big data and analytics. You're
yeah,
going through security, I think, and of course cost. So
yeah,
you're going through the entire process. It's
yeah.
how long does it take to write this kind of book? I mean, it's
Yeah, so it was like I can say like from 1.5 year, like I was actually working on that, but it was not like I was working like giving the time every day. But for past like 8 or 9 months, I was actually giving like 1 hour, 2 hour, or sometimes like more, like 4 or 5 hours every day, and just writing some more stuff. And I was like, and then in the start, like it was very small. I had a plan that it will be a very small book, and maximum it will have like 100 pages, and now it is like around 270 something pages. So because but I have this thing in mind that I will cover all these aspects, because all the people, like I hear when the people pain point, like it's not like everybody pain point is like choosing the right database. Sometimes the people say that, okay, our system is very good, we are have this millions of users, but our problem is that the cost is very high. And then for them the solution might be that use serverless, use
Yep.
lambdas
Right.
to reduce the cost, right? So for them they need that particular chapter, but for some other guys their problem might be that we have like a lot of data, and or maybe I haven't worked with IoT system, and now I am exposed to that particular project and there's like a lot of data, how do I manage it? And then they need to understand like, okay, different sort of like databases like DynamoDB, Elasticsearch, how to manage this big chunk of data, archival, how we can move the data to like S3 Glacier, that is like sort of in that way. So then in that way I was thinking that, okay, I need to cover like all these aspects. So I will, it's not important that I write like a very detail in every chapter, but like I will write the chapter, I will give the concept like in big data, like how, what's the goal, like first we need to decide, like before creating any big data pipeline, that what is the goal, what is the value that we need to achieve from that particular data. Okay, we decide, okay, from that data we want like what's the future prediction of orders, so based on that we can tell our manufacturer. So in that way then we extract the data, fetch the data, clean it, and then we create the whole pipeline. So I talk about these things as well. It's not just the tech book, like you just
Right.
go there, I'm talking about kinesis fire hose, I'm talking about like this I just talk about the business aspect as well, the people know why we do this. And the very main thing is that before the start of every chapter, in the introduction I talk about the why I have written this particular chapter. So it's
Oh,
not like I just put it there. So there's a reason why I have done that, so I have added that in the start of every chapter.
got it. Nice. And when I started kind of going through the book, I saw, I was surprised to see soap. People actually
Yeah.
using soap. I mean, it's is this still a thing? I don't know. It's is it? I mean, I haven't seen it since the what you using soap with XML. Is this what's
Yeah.
going on now? People are still using it. Have you?
uh, I believe like in the API protocol, like when I was like one around exactly like 1 year or 2 months ago, I was working on a banking project. So it was like a very large scale banking project of KFHK, Kuwait Finance House, and then we deployed that particular banking project in 3 different countries.
Got it.
So in that banking project, the whole project was like the new one. We revamped it to Angular, Nest.js, and like it
Yep.
was all nice. But the core banking APIs, we cannot update it because this is something that bank does not like us to touch. That was using soap. And
Nice.
at that time, because I knew that soap, like some old
Java?
system used soap, right?
Was it a Java-based system
Yeah,
or?
Java based system. So
Got it.
I knew that old system used soap, but
Right.
then I knew that mostly like in fintech sector,
Right.
healthcare sector,
Right.
if you're working in that sector, don't be surprised if you just the people show you this payload, and because it's a very ugly payload, just to be honest, it has like a lot of unnecessary
Right.
information as well.
Right. Right. Right.
But it has like, on the positive side, it has like a lot of good things as well. It has like retry mechanism, it's in terms of security it is very good. So you will see that. So the point is
Right.
that, okay, we have soap, and in the chapter I have explained that what is soap and where it is used, what are the real world applications. And
Right.
similarly, like if you talk about like other, like JSON is like very common, everybody is like using it. So rest so then like for every protocol, what's the use case and real case studies, like in that protocol you use that in this particular
Right.
case study.
So that's I think that's what I like about it. It's I mean as developers that not that I mean I'm not working in legacy systems for a long time. We tend to forget how much of legacy is important in our world, legacy system, how much of the infrastructure is built on legacy. And I have to say that I kind of like it because there's also a nice segue from SOAP to REST and
Yeah,
GraphQL,
yeah,
which is very different from REST, and you have to figure. It's a nice segue, and ending up with webhooks, which was a surprise to me. I mean,
yeah,
is it an API protocol? I
yeah.
mean,
It's
so it's
it,
kind of
it,
it makes sense. It makes sense to put this in place. So, what was your favorite chapter to write? Do you have a favorite chapter in this book?
So my favorite chapter is scalability, because the
Scalability.
book name is also like, yeah, designing scalable system. But obviously, we cannot talk about just about scalability, because uh, making a system scalable, it's very important that we choose the right database, right?
Okay.
So there's a separate chapter for database, there's a separate chapter for the API protocol, because sometimes the system is slow, and the main reason is that they haven't choose the right protocol. If there's a one way communication between two services, then you can use like SQS in AWS, queue, right? You
Right.
just put the data in the queue, because it's
Right.
a one way communication.
Right.
You don't want like the return back.
Right.
So then the other service will get the data from the queue and process it and do it, rather than just doing a normal REST API call. So
Right.
this is one thing. Then if we talk about like then there are like multiple factors. Like in database, you want to do searching, right? And then you have like millions of record. So if you put that data in like MySQL or like RDS, you say, oh, and then I can search. It's not good. Some guys say, okay, I will put it in a NoSQL database like MongoDB, and then I will search. It's good. Still no good. MongoDB say it's very good, but yeah,
Yeah.
not good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you put that in Elasticsearch and then do searching, then it kind of make more sense. So you have to understand that based on different like aspect, you have to choose the right tool for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is like something that is very important to make your system scalable.
Right.
Then the very like most important part is like the caching strategies, because you can cache your query results. You can cache your, obviously everybody is doing the web page and all the
Of course.
assets and all of these things. This is something that you can cache. Then in that way there are like a lot of things that you can actually cache to make your system fast. Like if you talk about like the architecture of Instagram and Facebook, I have like looked into these architectures a lot. So they talk about that they have like separate dedicated databases and caches for every
Right.
different regions. So
Right.
if I request something from Facebook, so it will check from the Kuala Lumpur, nearest to Kuala Lumpur is the Singapore, right? So it will go to
Right.
Singapore, come back. But if I'm requesting something which is not in the Singapore region, it is specifically, it is in the Africa something region, then it will fetch the data from that database, and then it will also store in the Singapore region as well, because the next time when I query it, it will not go all the way to Africa server, it will fetch it from here. So
Right.
these are different strategies, like cache aside, inline cache, right back cache. So
Right.
different things that I talk about, like how you can apply these different strategies to make your system fast.
Okay. You're talking about scalability. A lot of people, a lot of time, people talk about scalability in the aspect that you're talking about. How many requests?
Yeah,
What's the volume of requests? The scalability also. How many developers can I onboard to my team? It's a different part of scalability.
yeah,
Also a
yeah,
huge problem. I mean, is this architecture scalable for larger teams? That's also, and most of
yeah,
the times building the architecture that is scalable for larger team from the get-go doesn't make sense because
yeah,
it's so scalability is a loaded term for me. But I agree that databases, understanding the access pattern for databases,
yeah,
that's the beginning of understanding what kind of. I mean, it might be that RDS is good for you. It might be the MongoDB with the right sharding key is
yeah,
great for you. But but if you need to do join between different sharding keys, then you're, I mean, not join, but kind of running stuff. There's no join in
Yeah.
MongoDB, but that's awesome. So and then you go through monitoring, right?
Yeah.
And
So monitoring is also like very interesting topic, because right now, like most of the companies are now starting to invest in monitoring. This ELK suite, like it's expensive, but still, like,
yeah,
people are paying for that, like, thousands of dollar.
yeah,
So because the reason is that now through monitoring they can understand that maybe the website is working fine for them, right? In my region I can see, oh, the loading time is 1 second, but for
right,
someone in India or
right,
Pakistan, or someone from Canada, like far away from Malaysia, they are facing like a 15-second load time.
right,
How I get to know about it, right?
right,
It is through the monitoring solution. Then another important aspect is the distributed tracing, because right now
yeah,
most of the systems are moved towards like microservices or
right,
layered architecture, like,
right,
and then you have like a lot of separate
right,
projects, and sometimes they are in separate like technology as well. One is Node, Python, and then when you face the error, you start debugging from the first service, right? And then
right,
you think like, okay, the issue is in that particular service, that it is not working. But without, like, obviously the distributed monitoring, you
right,
have to track the request, and then it might take you days. But
right,
with distributed tracing you can see, okay, this request first hit this particular lambda, this lambda
right,
calls this particular ECS, this call this, and then you see, oh, there it is like actually broken, because
right,
there's a concept of like, whole trace. So
right,
you have this like ID, transaction ID, and
right,
that transaction ID is like sent through the whole life cycle. So that is something very important that I wanted people to know.
right.
So I talk about like these concepts and like why it is important, like network monitoring and these different sort of things.
Yeah. Totally, I think that kind of if you're familiar with open telemetry
Yeah.
and I mean just reading through the doc site, understanding the terms, what is a trace, what is a span, and
Yeah.
understanding the mechanism. It's a very simple mechanism. They just want
Yeah.
all the system to talk in the same. I mean, just you put a trace ID. I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to use this trace ID. If not, I'm going to
Yeah.
create a trace ID. And then in the end, you go into a New Relic, Datadog, I don't know what,
Yeah.
your own solution, and then you can just go, this is the event. Just let me
Yeah.
look just on this request and just follow it.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, when I'm talking to a lot of teams, I'm still finding that the expense on monitoring is crazy. I
Yeah.
mean, it almost goes into 10% of cloud spend when I
Yeah.
talk about expensive monitoring. So it's interesting. There's some nice companies in the field right now that are trying to solve this problem of basically kind of filtering events, not sending all the events, and it's a very since Splunk, it's a very hot field.
Yeah,
This field,
because this field is sort of new, because it's not like people know about monitoring for like ages. So
right,
now it is something that all the companies are using, and
right,
the concept is same. Like if you talk about Datadog, ELK suite, like all
right,
these new relic, the
right,
concept is same. The span, the
right,
transaction is
right,
same. So now obviously they are thinking about like adding some machine learning on that,
right.
anomaly detection, these sort of things.
Classic. And it's what we call in entrepreneurship. It's a red ocean. Everybody. I mean, it's a battlefield for customers. There's a lot of money there. There's a lot of value. There's compliance issues. You need to save stuff. There's other side of compliance issue. You don't want to save the GDPR information, the emails.
Yeah,
No, it's a crazy area. It's a crazy area. And then you finish with you go through security, and then you finish with cost optimizations. I mean, now
yeah,
system designing scalable system has to end up with basically
cost.
yeah, cost.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is something like that's very interesting, because right now in my current job as well, like m- most of the time when we're designing anything now, we obviously have this concept that we will tag this particular resource. So after 1 month we know that this particular change that involves provisioning x amount
Right.
of resources, how much that does that cost? And before like deploying that, we have this cost analysis using cost calculator, and then we check that how much accurate it is, right? And then based on that, then we see, okay, how we can optimize it, how we can optimize the cost. Or like we are writing data to S3 like every other request, we can use like Kinesis Firehose, like stream it, batch it, and instead of writing everything, like we batch it, put 1
Oh, nice.
GB as a
Nice.
whole, right?
Nice.
It reduced the cost a lot. Like if you talk about IoT system, the other day I was doing consultation with one of my client in Norway, and we are doing calculation for their IoT project, and we just did batching for the data, and the cost was reduced like 10 times. We
Yeah.
just did batching for like, I think 1 minute just time span, and the cost was like, it was like crazy how much cost we can save through it. And we just have to add like one or two service, like it's very easy. So but in some cases you cannot do it. I just also explained them, in case of you need like some real sort of like charts, in that don't add this batching, then it will kill the purpose. But in that case you feel like, okay, I can do batching, is like 4 or 5 minute 10 minutes delay in the data is
Right.
not costing me, then do batching. That's very important.
Right.
So in the cost optimization, this chapter, like I talk about like all of different aspect, and mostly it is about like the things and the thinking behind it, because the appliance can be different, because in every different system it can be a different case how you can do cost optimization, but the thinking behind it is like sort of the same.
Can you touch a little bit about that? The title, "The Hidden Cost of Software Development." It's, I mean, it's kind of, it's not related to the cost of the. I mean, is it? What's the hidden cost of software development? Uh,
Yes. So basically, like the hidden cost of software development is like, basically like there are like a lot of things that people know that, okay, this thing costs that much, this thing costs that much, but then there are like a lot of things like system, there can be some issue, there can be like you are planning that in 3 months we will develop this much feature, right? But there
right.
can be a case that you have like some sort of like, people intruding into your platform.
Right.
There can be that there's like a change in npm module and then your system is not working because
Right.
you're dependent on that.
Right.
It's like there are like so many hidden factors that
Right.
we actually don't understand when we're doing the cost
Right.
calculation,
Right.
because there's no field for like what happens if this thing goes down, what happen if this underlying architecture is down. So
Yeah.
this is something that there are a lot of hidden factors, we also have to sort of keep them in mind and have that buffer.
Yeah. I had a talk with one entrepreneur who was talking to me about this specifically, and going back to the same system that we did with Kafka Stream. I mean, when I chose Kafka Stream, and it's a stateful, I wouldn't say database. There's a queue, and there's stateful workers, and then there's kind of resharding of keys, and it's a mess. And
Yeah,
the hidden cost of having this is basically kind of keeping 10% or 15% of a DevOps person to
yeah,
stabilize the system and to understand the problem. And I didn't understand this. And this is where kind of, I mean, that entrepreneur was experimenting with trying to figure out whether an AI can help you. I mean, whether maybe the internet knows that there's a hidden cost, and maybe could be kind of an AI architect that can help you on every stuff, basically tell you what is the hidden cost here of maintenance.
yeah.
And I mean, how often does an npm package upgrades? I mean, these are interesting.
Yeah, the whole, the node version update. And then in that, like in your scenario, what was the hidden cost? The hidden cost was he has to actually pay two, maybe like one or two software engineers,
Yeah,
which are actually managing that
exactly,
Kafka thing.
exactly.
And then he was thinking that these two developer will develop these XYZ feature, but
Right.
they are focusing on that aspect as well, which he was not expecting. So yeah, that was like something that is like the hidden cost.
And you're not planning to fix this. You plan just, I mean, let's just turn the fire out. Let's
Yeah.
clean the disk. Let's do some stuff, and then yeah, super interesting.
Yeah.
Um, Huzaifa, any other stuff you want to mention about the book? I mean, we covered kind of the basics, but
Yeah. So I would just like add like one last thing, that if you are like looking to, you know, understand the whole system design process, because in this book, like I try to cater like all the different aspect of, as we talked in this particular show as well, that there are like different aspect of the whole system design. There might be few like two three other aspect that I haven't covered, but like most of the important one I actually, you know, compiled the information and put it there. So if you want to just maybe it can be a case, like I remember like back in the days, like 1 or 2 year ago, I did a course of algo expert from the person was Clem. So that was very basic. I did the whole course in like 2 days, but I get a lot of value from that course because it helped me in these 2 days. I refreshed the whole like all the concept again. I was like, oh, that's good, like, you know. And then you might have an interview or talking to someone, you have like all the concept clear, because sometimes you have like a vivid memory or some of some concept. So this book can also, like, if you are like a very senior or like solution architect, you have like 10-15 years of experience, then in that case it can help you, you know, just like you can
yeah,
again read it and just like, oh, just understand it.
right. I agree. It's very easy to read, very easy to consume.
Yeah,
Sometimes you have to dig further in other places, but it's kind of like kind of a mental checklist in many cases.
yeah,
Awesome,
yeah,
man. Awesome.
yeah.
Uh, Man, thank you for joining in your 3 a.m. It's time to go back to bed. Uh, it was great talking to you, and I hope to see you back on our Slack channel and involved in the Wing
Yeah,
project.
yeah,
Uh, and we got Nathan loving the book and thanking you. And I don't know if you know, but we have a thing here between topics. We go through a song. So
yeah.
today we're gonna listen to Hobo Johnson. Uh,
Okay.
the song is Subaru Crosstrack. And thank
Okay.
you very much. And we
Yeah.
listen.
Thank you guys for inviting me, because it is like very nice. It's like the first show, I would say, like, or the first person I'm actually talking about the book and explaining why I've written it, like why this happened. And like, you know, I'm very thankful that you guys gave me the opportunity to talk about it. Like, and yeah, it was great being on the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank
So,
you.
and I'll see you next time on the next,
Sure.
maybe before the movie, before you make
Yeah.
the movie about it.
Yeah. Sure. Sure. Sure.
Uh, so let's hear it to Hobo Johnson, Subaru Crosstrack. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
I just bought a Subaru Crosstrek. I would've bought a Lambo, but I'm not quite there yet. Sometimes I get drunk and I forget what day it is. I wish that I was skinnier, but I love sandwiches. One time I tried to burn sage to clear the vibe, then the smoke alarm went off and my ex-girl cried. She cried for a bunch of other reasons. I'm never going back to Four Seasons. I wish that I was friends with Drake so I can dig through his trash and have a yard sale today.
What do you say, Mark? Did you expect to actually see the note in time for your show?
Wait, what note? What are you talking about?
The changelog note. What, you didn't?
I mean, I expect the best from this show. I expect the
Okay.
production to be perfect every time. Everything
Okay.
goes as planned. So yeah,
Okay. Awesome. How you doing, man?
doing good. I woke up. I woke up way too early. So, and I'm now just hitting like afternoon time here.
Okay.
So I'm like
What's early for
perfect.
you?
I'm sorry.
What's early for you?
It was like 5 in the morning.
Oh my God, early.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was wondering, should I like lie? Should I say a time that's even earlier to impress everyone?
No,
Like
it's
that
5. You
early?
need to
Is
say
5 good enough to
5
to
is
feel?
wow. I mean,
So anyway, it's good timing now. So I'm my lowest energy point of the day. Time to be here.
time to be here. Exactly. This is how we like you. It's a low energy
Yeah.
mom.
Although you've seen me other times a day, it's not that much different. It's basically
Yeah, I wouldn't say you're.
I'm not jumping off the walls usually.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm good. Excited to talk about the changes.
Yeah, me too. So the changelog. Let's hear it. Let's put this on stage. Get this off here. So what do we have? What do you have for us, Mark? What does the community have for us?
Well, last 2 weeks we're a little calm, a little calmer than usual, but we still got some cool stuff to show. A lot of breaking. I mean, so we went from 54 to 57
Wow.
in the minor slot, which, in case anyone doesn't know, that's used for our breaking changes currently because we're on 0 major version.
Right.
The breaking changes are not a big deal. I think the only one that's probably even relevant at all is I think we changed it so that you can't define interfaces at the top level. I didn't even put it in this list because it's really not even interesting enough to mention.
You can only define interfaces on top level. Is that what it is?
Yes, I may have said the opposite. My bad. But yeah, you can only define interfaces at the top. I think that's the change. I don't know, but we have some cool stuff to show.
Cool stuff. Okay, some controversial stuff maybe. I don't know. Let's see.
Oh shoot, is there? I don't know.
I don't know.
All right. So first up, we have a new CLI subcommand called
Nice.
new, or the new subcommand. So this bootstraps a little project for you. I think right now we have 2 templates, just like an empty project with just like a file that kind of just has like maybe just like a hello world in it, and then a more complicated like an HTTP API using the cloud.api.
Right.
Right. So I think there's really not a lot you need to start a Wing project, but it's not like it's 0. You need a file. So like, at the bare minimum, you need a file, and sometimes you might need more dependencies installed and package JSON and such. So having this in place, I think adds a new contribution point, a new place to kind of flex, how easy it is to get started with certain things. This picture also kind of has a teaser for the ability to like do Wing New with other languages.
What's that? What's that all about?
I mean, next Wingly, I swear I'll talk about TypeScript.
Awesome.
The Wing TypeScript. But for now, just still a teaser. But yeah, that's Chris added this lovely new subcommand.
So Chris saying maybe we should call this minimal rather than empty.
Maybe a minimal sounds so. What's the term for like demutal? It's like putting it down. It's like putting it down.
It's hello world. Let's just say. I mean, when you click it, it's not empty. It's not minimal. It's hello world.
I guess that's true. It is wrong. It's not. I guess we could call it hello world.
Maybe. Why not?
I don't know. Or
hello.
Actually, no. Now I'm liking minimal more that we're talking about it.
Okay. Minimal?
That's pretty good. It is a long word though.
Minimal is a long word. Okay.
Blank. That's still wrong though. It's not blank. It has something. A blank Wing project is an empty folder. Just to be clear, there's no such thing as a.
There's no main W. It's not an empty main W.
You could have an empty. I guess that's true. I guess you could have an empty main W.
Maybe we should have 2 options: empty and blank. Just get people
empty confused. And empty plus.
Yeah. Confused when they do in the Wing New.
All right. So that's that command.
Thank you for this. And
next up we have try to decide. This wasn't a breaking change or anything. So this was when you can now use this at like the top level, or at not even at the top, use it anywhere outside of a class inside of an entry point file. This is sound because when you in the entry point file technically is part of a your application is a resource, and like at the top level there is a resource there. Right. There's a construct specifically. So being able to reference it has some uses. I tried to make a minimal example, although I realized that there's some kind of rough edges that make this minimal example a little big, but this is like what if you want to attach a resource to like the top level of your tree as like a singleton. Right. It's kind of hard to do that from within a static method because we don't have a way to access like the root. You get what I'm saying? Like in this example here, I forgot I have my mouse. Being able to like when you don't have an existing construct available, like to kind of hook into the tree, the resource tree, That's what this gives you.
This.
So yeah.
Does this have any method?
Yeah, the type of this is a construct.
Okay.
Which is part of the so constructs are it's kind of weird because constructs are not super exposed all the time.
Right. I
in
haven't
Wing.
seen. I think
But it's there. I mean,
right?
It's always there. Like you can use when you do in, for example, like you can put a construct there. Actually, you have to put a construct there. I believe.
Right.
So that's why this example got kind of interesting.
So is a construct kind of a pre-flight inf class, or any pre-flight class is a construct? Is that correct? I'm not sure. I didn't come from the CDK background, so.
Yeah, well, the construct. So you're like the pre-flight. The point of pre-flight is to build this application tree. That's one way we could talk about it. And a tree is made up of nodes.
Right.
And I mean, kind of implied by this node of global that we have now, this gets you there's a class called a node.
Right.
And that's useful on its own, but constructs are kind of I don't know. I think it's technically incorrect to do this, but I mean, node and construct they can go hand in hand. Like constructs have a node.
Have a node.
But the way I usually see it is the tree is actually made up of constructs. It's technically made up of nodes, but it's made up of constructs too.
Right. Right.
So so just think of it as the nodes of the tree.
Yeah. I mean, because you have the construct, you have this as a construct, then every construct has a node, but the tree technically made of node or construct. Yeah, I understand it's kind of I have to say I am also it's also a little bit confusing. I'm just saying.
I think that's why we tend to try to hide it.
Yeah.
We try to hide it as much as possible, but in this case, it is leaking through.
Okay. Awesome. And that was Hassan's contribution. Thank you,
Hassan. Thank you, Hassan, for that.
Yep.
So next up is I don't have much on this slide to show. But
one slide.
No, I fixed it. This is the correct slide. So when we bundle, when you create it in flight and you use it in a cloud function or some other places, it gets bundled during it gets bundled either at runtime. So when you're running in the simulator, it gets bundled when you start running the simulator, or if you're compiling to a target that needs those bundles immediately, like TFAW or any of the Terraform targets.
Right.
Then it gets bundled at compilation time.
Right.
That bundling was done with a WASM version of ESBuild.
Right.
This was useful initially because when we first added it, because it kind of made the pre-flight execution fully cross-platform, even in browsers, which we did make use of in our initial version of the Playground site that existed.
Right.
We no longer use it that way. The Wing Playground is now run with FlyIO, the actual machines.
Right.
And we don't really have a use case for executing the pre-flight in the browser.
Yeah.
So we're kind of just hindering ourselves for not much benefit. I mean, of course, WASM is also it's like ultra multi-platform.
Right.
But ESBuild itself has publishes multiple platforms.
Right.
So the switch was done now that the native version of ESBuild is used, and as I point out here from the ESBuild docs, it's about 10 times, I'll say, faster to use the native version. And
do you actually feel it when you're compiling? I mean, 10 times, is this a large chunk of time spent?
Yeah, I think for any application that has cloud functions or cloud server or any bundling done, this bundling is the slowest part.
Okay.
Of the process.
Nice.
I mean, past having like more than a few of them, which most non-trivial applications will have more than a few.
Interesting.
So yeah, you feel it. You absolutely feel it. I think in our current benchmarks, which aren't very extensive, I think like in an example with if you have even if you just have one function, it seemed to increase it by 50%.
Oh, really?
The overall speed of compilation increased by 50%.
Nice.
So it's not 10x, but of course there's other stuff we're doing too that aren't changed by this process. It's worth noting that this applies to the simulator. Like I said, I didn't benchmark, but like the simulator will now also start faster because the bundling will happen faster. So
the runtime simulator will happen faster,
yes,
right? When I actually invoke the function, it will react faster.
Yeah. Right now the simulator, when it starts, it eagerly tries to bundle all the functions.
Okay.
And then if you click on it before it's done, it'll wait a little bit. Now with this being even faster, I doubt you'll notice that it's not done yet or something when you try to invoke it.
Great.
And also tests, simulator tests as well. Everything's faster. That bundling is a pretty huge part of most workflows, I would say, in Wing. Testing and compilation with non-simulator targets. So,
and the handsome fellow who's done that feature is Mark. Thank you, Mark.
Thanks to me.
Yeah.
To be fair, this is a very small change. We probably should have done it sooner. I kind of feel bad that we didn't do it sooner because of how much of an improvement it was and how little effort it actually took to change. So,
nice.
There you go.
Is it fully compatible? The ESBuild WASM version, was it just changing the executables? The library?
It was fully. There was one thing that was like it's almost not worth mentioning that there was a warning because of some dead code that we had.
Okay.
But so yes, the answer is it was fully compatible. Like I said, though, technically there are platforms that exist that ESBuild does not have binaries for. But I don't think I've heard any issues around users running it on their I can't even think of an example of
beside browser. Don't say browser.
Beside the browser.
Okay.
But no one's mentioned it, so it's not
Awesome. Great.
Anyway.
Thank you, Mark.
Mm-hmm. So this is a pretty big one. That's
nice. Yeah.
So you can already. So multi-line strings have been a feature in Wing for ever. I don't know, since we added strings.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe not. Maybe I'm misspeaking, but they've been around for a while. However, they haven't worked correctly for a while. Also,
you're missing a semicolon here, by the way. It's not going to work. But
that's fair. My bad.
Yeah.
So this didn't. This would fail. This simple example would fail, not just because it doesn't have a semicolon, but because we just had some problems with escaping. Escapes in the string.
Right.
And it would work if you put if it had any interpolation, which is why it snuck through in the first place. That it would work if you had an interpolation going on inside, but not if you don't, which is weird. That seems like it would be the harder case.
Interesting.
But that case actually worked fine.
Nice.
So now, thanks to Mir, I don't know if I
Mayor.
I'm not realizing I'm not sure. He's made contributions, I think, before. And he's also continuing to he's had some really great compiler level contributions, which I think we always do the extra shout out for.
Yeah. And he wrote the blog, and he wrote he created a nice he wrote the blog that we talked a lot during our team time about so he raised some concerns, and we talked about how can we face them, prioritize them. And he also created a kind of a website, a Winglib, not a Winglib actually, his own kind of version of kind of a web service for which is awesome. What was the name of the web service? I need to remind myself, but
Winglet,
yeah. So
he's been doing a lot of great work. I definitely appreciate how much effort he's put into Wing, and not only using it but also building it up, by improving the compiler and such.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's great.
Next two are our good friends. Well, let's start with Gary, who added an implementation for the counter resource for TF Azure.
Do you have a clue what does he uses under the hood?
I don't. Hopefully, if Gary's here, he can let us know. But I don't actually know. So I won't even guess. I know so little about how Azure works. Maybe they have a counter. Maybe that's Microsoft counter. They have their own. I don't know. I have no idea what it uses. But really appreciate improving the surface area of our cloud library implementation.
Awesome. So we have a counter in Azure. Thank you, Gary. That's great. That's just awesome.
And our other regular Marcio added Cloud API for the
Oh,
AWS
really?
CDK, which AWS CDK is definitely Marcio's baby in terms of like
Wow.
the platform.
Wow.
I wish I knew the number of like how much of that did he implement, like total, like the entire platform and all its resources. It's definitely something he's worked on a lot and made excellent.
This is nice. I have to say because I'm doing a lot of demos. I'm meeting a lot of potential customers, and the AWS CDK as a target is because of CloudFormation, because it's something that because of the CDK people are asking about this, and I kind of know what's the road that I can go through so I can demo a bucket and a cloud function, and I know I can demo an API gateway. But now I can demo an API gateway. That's awesome. So that's actually really helpful for me because people are really interested in this platform.
Yeah, I mean, you should always be able to use like the raw libraries for like the AWS-CDK-lib.
Of course.
So, but yeah, definitely, it's good to have the cloud library also working on it.
Right.
And you can even work with it. You can use the cloud library alongside these other like more specific libraries for platforms, just to use those great abstractions.
That's great.
And this happened last time. So I have one more slide. Remember this? Remember this happened last time? Where for some reason something I'm doing is eating up my last slide.
Okay.
Give me 1 second.
Same slide.
There we go. Okay. Oh. So this is one of those things where I was like, oh, I guess this didn't work already. Yeah, no, I really wanted this in the console. So
nice.
In the console, I think recently it was added that you can use like gestures, like 2 fingers or 3 fingers.
Oh, really?
You can do movement with gestures in the console.
I didn't know that.
And then shortly after that, I think Christian added this feature, being able to use the mouse, which I think the very first time I used the console, or at least closer to what it is today, I tried doing this and I was like, oh, well, it doesn't work. Okay, well, whatever. And I was like, but it was like one of the first things I tried to do. So it meant something to me that I tried to do it and then it didn't work. So I'm glad it works now.
Yeah, nice. Great job, Christian. Nice. I didn't know that.
And that is all.
That is all. Okay. Thank you, man. This is great. This is a great summary. Not a lot of breaking changes. I don't know what was the breaking changes. It's
well, one of them was the ES build thing. I technically marked it as a breaking change because technically it now stops some platforms from being used.
Okay. Yeah. I see.
We'll try to be. I mean, especially since we don't have a major version yet. I mean, breaking changes don't even mean that much. They're just kind of consider every change a breaking change if you're very concerned. But yeah, it's so we can sprinkle them in, and it's not really a huge deal. Like you're not seeing a version 1 to 2 like anytime soon.
Right.
So don't worry too much.
Don't worry about that. Awesome, Mark. Thank you again for this very interesting and thorough walkthrough. So what was happening in the last 2 weeks in Winglang, and also thank you for your song contribution. So we're going to hear a different second part of Hobo Johnson's Subaru Cortex. Thank you, and I'll see you in 2 weeks, man. Bye.
Thank you. See you.
I just bought a Subaru Crosstrek. I would've bought a Lambo, but I'm not quite there yet. I just bought a Subaru Crosstrek. I would've bought a Bentley, but I'm not quite there yet. What's the point of being cool? Cut your hair and get a job like the rest of us do. Don't play guitar in the park and just sit. If I hear another G chord, I'm breaking your shit. Nothing like a Subaru Crosstrek. Suspension is soft as a cute little baby neck. My click orders clubs.
Gal.
Hi, Al.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So this is our bi-weekly meeting over the Wingly. our good
Oh
first
yes.
issue.
Oh yes. Good first issue corner.
Right, right. As you've seen, we already have kind of Amiel did a nice kind of starter music for it, and now you're here. So you want to start with sharing your screen, or you want to remind the viewers what is the good first issue corner?
I'll do both.
Okay.
Okay,
So
so let me share
I'll-
my screen.
let's do this. This is happening now. This is
Yes.
your screen.
Yes. So when I'll go to the Wing Lang Wing project, I'll go to the issues and I filter them by the label good first issue. Then I
Awesome.
can see a list of a lot of good first issues with more labels. What does it actually mean? It means that those issues are really, really good ones for beginners, I would say, and for people who wants to get familiar with Wing. I'll mention another label that we have, which is the Help Wanted issue. And those issues require more like deep understanding of the compiler or of the SDK or of the domain. They will require some help from our side, which we are always happy to help and support. But whenever we have new contributors and people who would like to get started with Wing, I always recommend to start with good first issues, several of those in the specific domain that they like, and then we can do more and more and more.
Awesome.
Now we have more labels, and as we go through the good first issues that I have here, I can mention what is the domain of that specific issue, and those labels can really help understand where am I going to fix and what is it going to be part of this fix, which domain of the framework.
Awesome.
So with which one should I start? I will start with this one. So this one is about the VS Code extension.
Awesome.
As you know, it's a programming Wing is a programming language, and we have the auto completion feature that is part of it. However, it is missing for the super dot keyword. So I'm expecting that whenever I type super dot, I want to see a list of members of functions that I can actually use within the scope that I'm part of.
Right.
And if you think, and we need that. It's as we all know, it's one of it's powerful and it's helpful to see
Right.
what type of methods I can actually use within my scope.
And I see in the labels here on the right, I see that we have a language server and VS Code extension, right?
Yeah. Yes, and a bug, and which we can argue about whether it's a bug or a missing feature. Yes, but this is basically a label. It's simple, it's fun, it's crucial. It will be super helpful. A lot of people will be using that.
Super helpful. Nice.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Second one is about the HTTP module. Now, again, we'll go back to the labels. It's an enhancement, and it's part of the SDK. We have our HTTP submodule, which supports most of the methods. However, Gary just noticed, but Gary noticed that connect and trace are not implemented. They're not supported. And it's a good idea to add them to the list.
Right. So we have an ability in Winglang to do bring HTTP, and then you can do HTTP get, post, and it's missing connect and trace.
Exactly. We're currently supporting all of those methods beside connect and trace.
Okay. Sounds like a reasonable fix. Awesome.
Yeah, and it's not really a fix. It's an enhancement.
Yep.
Right? Just we're not fixing anything. We're adding more support.
Nice.
Awesome.
This will be basically kind of TypeScript, JavaScript technology, because I'm assuming that the HTTP model is implemented in TypeScript. So yeah, awesome.
Yes, part of the SDK.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Next one. this one is actually a super cool one. I'm getting a lot of requests from the community, amazing community members, that they would like to give it a try. Start with some issues within the compiler. However, they're not expert, and there is a lot of concern in starting to fix stuff in the compiler. So this is a very, very good issue to begin with. It's about changing the syntax for the set, so that instead of initiating those items as with curly brackets, we want to see this new syntax.
Got it.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that the label here is a breaking change because this will break existing software. It also means that people will have to iterate over all the code, example code, and fix this. So there's some legwork to be done here. But it also it's also the compiler. So either Rust or Twisted or JavaScript, and it doesn't sound hard, but interesting. Oh, awesome.
Yes. And Chris also mentioned here that the reason he marks this as a good first issue is because you don't need to touch a lot of the deep compiler internals and understand that. It will require a lot of changes, as you said, in a lot of Wing files, but it's pretty straightforward.
Nice. I love Chris' detailed kind of grooming for this feature. So it's ripe for picking for good first issues. Awesome. Thanks, Chris.
And let's thank Sebastian as well, because Sebastian suggested that we need more assertions to the expect module. So right now when we test, you told me that 10 minutes ago, but I forgot.
We have in the expect module, we have equal, not equal, nil, and not nil. So basically 4 steps.
Yes. And Sebastian wants to make our life easier, so he's proposing that we will add those as well. Throw, does not throw, contains, does not contain, etc., etc., etc.
Awesome. Great.
And you can see here that it's part of the testing framework.
Great. Awesome.
Yes, so we have way more good first issues. You can definitely scroll through the list that I was showing you right here. And I will propose again, whoever wants to pick up any of those issues or any of this list, always feel free to reach out to either Eyal, myself, or just through the Slack channel. We're always there. We're friendly and responsive.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's weird side for a second. Thank you very much, Revital. And what?
You're welcome.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, Eyal.
Yeah. And thanks for the community once again for picking up those stuff. I'm a heavy user of the expect model, so I am expecting to see this, and I believe that this is going to be super helpful. And that's all my puns for today.
Awesome.
All
righty.
Okay. Bye, Revital. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye. So, hey, hi, man. Hello. So this is what we had for today. Thank you again for our guest, Huzaifa, Mark, and Revital. And like always, I'll see you in 2 weeks on the Wingly update. And let's hear the last part of Hobo Johnson as we say goodbye. Bye.
I wish that I was friends with Drake so I can dig through his trash and have a yard sale today. Damn, I wish my name wasn't Frank. Fuck, I wish it was Blake. I learned a lot from my dad, like how to yell a lot and make a car go fast. I wish that I was in the league. I'm a #1 pick with 2 bad knees. I just bought a Subaru Crosstrek. We're both